What's up, YouTube? It's Joe Cacciapaglia again, sitting on the couch trying to make some money buying and selling fractional real estate online. Today, I just wanted to give you an update. It's going to be a short video just on the actual profit I made on that property I bought 2 days ago. It's tiny. It is, almost embarrassingly small. I didn't expect to make much money on it to begin with. I was more I've told you this many times. I'm trying to experiment with this platform and see what is and isn't possible, what I should take, at face value and what I shouldn't. But so if you haven't watched that video, I'll put a link down below. So you can see the property that I actually bought. But I'm just going to give you a recap here. This was the property. When I had been looking online, I noticed it should have already closed, right? There was closing paperwork in the Dropbox. It was marked pending on Zillow. And, there were some tokens sitting out there in that I could buy on the market order tab that seemed to be below what the liquidation value was going to be. So, and, I went and looked at the notes, and when they had voted on whether or not they should accept the sale price, they had given, an expected dollars per token. I go into a little bit of detail about how I didn't really believe that was going to be the right number. That there were a couple of different ways that I think it could be different. But if I had taken that at face value and just if I had bought it at that, total profit would have been $54. And let me just go through that. So I bought it at three. Let's see. I bought it at $34.72.5 per token. That wasn't actually the stated token price. I think it was around 31 or 32. But that included, all the fees that they have on there, the putting money into the operating reserve, which happens with every purchase. I'm going to talk more about that later because it's something I don't really like the way it's working, and it doesn't seem to make a ton of sense. I've already complained to the founders of Lofty a little bit about it, but I'm hoping it doesn't stay the way it is because it's a little bit silly, and I think it sort of discourages buying into properties in certain scenarios. But anyway, it's their rules, and if they want to keep it that way, I'll just have to learn to deal with it a little bit better. So that's part of what was built in. And then this is one where I had actually bought it with a credit card, and I talked a little bit about that in past videos. Now, if I hadn't done that, I would have, would have been a little bit more room in it. But it's a 3% fee, and then you can see I got 5% cash back on that charge, and so ended up actually making, if we had gotten the payout that they had projected in there, I would have made $54.76. Actually, made quite a bit less, and it's because where they were saying, when you did the vote. It showed you, let me get back to that. It showed, let's see, gotta go back. Yeah, it's this note here. Sorry, I lost it. I scrolled by accident. $39.68, and it's because of, they showed offer price, commissions, closing costs, unpaid bills, estimated sale price. And then divide that by the number of outstanding tokens, and you got 39.68. Well, this is the notice I got that it actually closed. Still had that $87,000. That didn't change. Closing costs and commissions was hugely different, right? Like if we add these two numbers, this is about $7,000. So there's about $5,000 extra on here. When you look at that closing statement, I'll show you why that is. I think that almost is entirely built in these water and sewer bills. So I think these were unpaid bills that got picked up by title that they were unaware of. I'm not 100% sure that's what's going on, but it is, and this was one of the things that I had noticed when I was doing my due diligence in the purchase. But it seems to be about the difference, right? This is almost 5,000, and this is they were about $5,000 off. So I think that's what was happening there. And then unpaid bills, they had 11,000. Here they had said 885.32, and I think I showed you in that video too, where I found a number that was close to this. I'm not sure if it was exact, on their operating reserve sheet. So there was just another month of unpaid bills that just got lumped into here that they had missed. And it seems unlikely to me that they shouldn't have been able to project that. But those two things made up about $8,000 difference. Um, and then they had these, added LLC dissolution fee to 2024 tax year filing, year-end tax filing, and then final utility estimate $300. Um, there's no mention of those on here, and so I think this is just kind of sloppy. I think they should have known about these items, right? I mean, those should be happening with every sale if that's how that's being handled, and so um, I think it's pretty disappointing that this number is so far off of what it actually was when we already had a purchase price when this was in place. And I don't know. In any case, it means that if I'm going to keep trying to trade these properties, I mean, this is really thin, right? I just got lucky that I made 95 cents before the cashback, and so if I hadn't done the if I hadn't used a credit card, if I had had funds in the account at the time, I would have made double that, right? I would have made $11, but that is not an exciting return whatsoever, right? Now, obviously, I could have bought more tokens, but if you recall at the time, buying too many tokens pushed up the price too far, which is part of why I just bought few. I just bought 10, and and so maybe this just was not quite the opportunity it looked like. I mean, it obviously wasn't, right? I mean, like you can still see it shows 31. Sorry about that. I just had a little technical issue again. But all I was saying, once the fees get added to this estimated price that's put up here, it ends up being not a profitable transaction to go ahead and try to buy more at this price. I think actually if you work it out, you might make a couple cents each on each token, but it's not worth the time, especially because you have to go through that redemption process to get that money back. And so just to make sure that that's perfectly clear, this 3348.20 isn't in my account yet. I have to go and send those tokens into Lofty, and I've heard it can take a couple of weeks to get that money paid out. And so, even though, okay, making, let's see, what do we make here? We made $6 divided by, let's see, our total that we invested. And let's do this as a percent. Oh, switch it to percent. So, we only made 1.77% return. But if it took us, a month to do that, which is about what I think this is going to be, then you can multiply that by 12, get your actual return, right? So you're annualized, or roughly. I mean, I don't think that's exactly how it works, but you can roughly annualize it, and so it is actually a pretty good return on investment. But this isn't a very good use of my time, right? If I'm setting up these tiny trades to make $6 each, even if you're getting a good return percentage wise, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, if it had worked out more like this one, and I could have bought 10 times as many tokens without too much slippage, that might have been a much better deal for, that's the sort of transaction that's worth looking for. Whether or not those are going to come up, I'm not sure. Whether in the future their estimates are going to be so far off of what the reality is, I'm not sure about that either, but I think it's definitely something I can look out for. Um, now I know some of those fees as far as the winding down the LLC fees and the last year tax return and stuff. I can add those in myself. If they're not diligent about it and they're not giving us good numbers like what happened on this one. In any case, was this a mistake? I don't know. It was not the best use of my time, right, to make $6. But I definitely learned a lot about how their process works. Now I'm going to get to go through the redemption too, which is just, a multi-step sending in tokens. I mean, it's not going to take a lot of time. Probably takes 5 minutes once I figure it out. Um, and then and then waiting to get that money back. So, the bottom line is, what did I just click on there? I think that opportunities to make some money on here. I don't think this one necessarily was a great one. Although I would have made a little bit more if I had used, if I had GC in the account to use instead of using the credit card. I would have made a little bit more if, obviously if this price was different. There were times recently where they're not even giving you a price here. I think there's something happening. Maybe they stopped this because it's sold. I'm not really sure. In any case, uh, I think bottom line is I think there is an opportunity here, but this just wasn't as good of one as I had hoped. It was good though, it didn't end up being as bad as the worst case scenario where, I didn't lose any money. I made a little bit, and figured some stuff out along the way. So, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more learning and hopefully a little bit more making money. But until next time, I'm going to keep making mistakes so that you don't have to.